I just got something I don't even know. It's from is it really from the Trump administration that said that they prefer this as our China or coronavirus update? That's good. I don't see it. So I think this might be somewhat offensive to those people in the media that think this is the big issue that we should all be focused on. But here's our COVID-19 update. Their total confirmed cases worldwide, 252. That is up almost 50,000 from yesterday. This thing is starting to compile now. We're in the exponential growth. Total confirmed deaths, 10,000, up from 9,200 yesterday. Total confirmed recovered worldwide, 89,000, up 4,000 from yesterday. 182 countries have confirmed cases, up from 176. 4 more have suspected cases. There are now officially only 13 countries that do not have at least one case of COVID-19. I challenge anyone to name those 13 countries, because I guarantee you they're countries that were like, I didn't even know you were a country. 5% of active cases are considered seriously requiring hospitalization. That's steady 5% from yesterday, but down from 19% just 3 weeks ago. The U.S. now has 14,366 confirmed cases, 217 deaths. That is up 9,000 cases from yesterday. So we're close to doubling now our cases in one day, and our deaths, 217, up from 155. The governor of California has issued a shelter-in-place order. Everybody, quick, shelter in place. Bill O'Reilly said that really bothered him, and I didn't know why until just right now. It is like, just stay at home. Issue a stay-at-home order. Residents told to stay home unless they have to acquire food, medicine, medical care, or other emergencies. How about just getting out of the house for a while? Is that possible? We were talking to the kids. We played Uno last night, and started watching a new show on, is it Netflix, called Lock and Key. We had a great time, but I had to break it to them, guys. I don't think we're leaving. You're not going back to school. I don't think you're going back to school, and I don't think we're leaving the house for another few weeks. And they were like, "What? I can't take it." All right, so you can leave for medical care, acquire food, medicine, other emergencies. Like, I swear to you, officer, I was going to kill him if I didn't leave. He said compliance is going to rely heavily on social pressure and not law enforcement. That's good. No time frame was given for how long this thing is going to last. He says we're going to keep the grocery stores open, make sure that critical medical supplies are there. You can still take your kids outside. Just practice common sense. Still walk your dog. Oh, I'm on the air. Essential travel includes trips to the grocery store, gas stations, farmers markets, food banks, convenience stores, takeout, delivery, banks, and ATMs. Like that's going to be open long. A directive also exempts critical infrastructure such as food and agriculture, healthcare, transportation, energy, and financial services. Now, this comes in after he is put an official letter to the Trump administration. He said 56% of the state's population, that's about 25.5 million people, projected to be infected with the coronavirus over an 8-week period. Now, this is according to the Los Angeles Times. It also has a copy of that letter. In the letter, he asked the president to deploy the USNS Mercy hospital ship to the port of Los Angeles until September of this year to help decompress our current healthcare delivery system in the Los Angeles region in response to COVID-19 outbreak. Well, that's one ship. That's 25 million people are getting sick. By the way, they're not putting the sick people on the ships. They're trying to get like broken legs and trauma, as that's really the thing that the Navy works on. California has 8,500 intensive care beds currently. Over 80% are already occupied. if 5 to 6% of the patients require hospitalization, including the 4% that require intensive care, and they have an average stay of 20 days, if 25.5 million people get COVID-19 over 8 weeks, 4% require intensive care. That's 1,147,500 who are going to require intensive care. 1,147,500. There are 8,500 beds in existence in California. Maybe that's why, in related news, marijuana dispensaries are deemed essential under California's shelter-in-place order. Now, Stu, I was thinking about this. Is this because of the, stay at home with your kids, and so you're going to need the pot? Or is it for some other reason? I'm not.
It's a good question. Well, as you know, it's medical. It's medicine.
Oh, yeah. No, it's right. No,
yeah.
That's right.
No,
that's right.
It is.
That's,
every
there
single
are
person
some
in California
things.
uses it that way as well.
Everybody does. In our conspiracy corner, California government has been planning for COVID-19 shutdown and outbreak since January. Hey, Stu, what do you think about the people in Congress that went and sold all their stock in January after a confidential secret meeting about what was coming?
Well, it's a mixed bag so far. We don't know all of the answers to that yet. Some people seem like at least they're claiming they have nothing to do with those decisions and they're done separately, and they should be able to prove that if that's true. Others are, I don't know if Burr's getting out of this one. It seems like Burr's the one in the biggest amount of trouble on this particular item. He's saying that I just relied on public reports on these things. I was watching CNBC very closely.
Is he exempt?
Yeah, I don't think it's. Well,
because it's not against the law and this drives me nuts. It's not against the law for what Congress has done, which it should be. You're operating on insider information. That's wrong.
They did change some of that with Peter Schweizer's book, didn't they? Because he was the first real person who exposed that in a big way, and they did change some of the rules around it. So I'm not exactly sure how much of a violation this would be, but obviously it looks terrible. It is terrible if you're going and you're doing it this way. I can't imagine he survives it unless he has a legitimate, rock-solid excuse. And the accusation being that he had a private briefing about coronavirus, realized how bad it was going to be, and sold a bunch of his stocks. They're all denying it, everyone who's been accused of it. But he then went out in public and was saying it wasn't going to be as bad, and the president was all over it, and we were going to be fine. So it was a little bit of a mixed message there. And if the truth is that he went to a private briefing, took that information, realized stocks were going to tank, sold all of his stocks, didn't tell anyone else, obviously the American people are not going to put up with that. It's just a matter of whether it's provable and whether it's actually true. We still are yet to see a detailed response. I believe Loeffler wrote that she had a pretty airtight excuse if it's true, which is, she had certain funds set up certain ways, and it seemed like it was a pretty good explanation if it holds up. Burr's was a little bit more difficult. He said that he's willing to, go along with an investigation on it, though.
All right. So California had been planning for COVID-19 shutdown and outbreak, this according to the conspiracy. Starting in January 2020, the governor's office designated 286 state properties as official homeless shelters by the way of executive order on January 15. These were vacant lots and fields that were filled with FEMA-provided RVs, mobile homes, blah, blah, blah. They have been sitting empty. People are saying, that's because they weren't preparing for homelessness. They were preparing for COVID. Yeah, really? Because that sounds like California to me. It sounds like, they're being overrun by the homeless problem. So bring in all these things and then just not do anything with them. I mean, if that doesn't sound like California government, then there's no conspiracy there. That's just stupid California government. Turns out that having lots of toilet paper, not such a bad idea. Nearly half of COVID-19 present with digestive issues, including diarrhea. Diarrhea from China. Apparently, a lot of people aren't going in, and they get diarrhea, and they're like, it's supposed to be in my lungs, and I don't think my lungs are producing diarrhea. And so they're not going into the hospital, and they're going in a little late. But apparently, you can get that with COVID-19. That's how it actually first presents itself in some people. Now, yesterday, we had the guy on about this anti-malaria drug. If you use it in conjunction with a Z-Pack, that it can actually cure, according to a scientist in France, cure 100% of the patients that tried this out. I asked him, in fact, Sarah, do we have this audio where I asked him yesterday, so are there any bad side effects? And I want you to listen to this. These drugs have been tried separately. There's no indication that these drugs used together have any kind of ill effect.
So the trial showed that there was a 100% cure rate in 6 days. Both of these drugs have a very high quality safety profile. Again, please submit this protocol to all scientists, medical doctors, and nurses.
Okay, stop. So you notice he didn't really answer that question. I will answer that question for you coming up in 1 minute. All right, so yesterday we were talking about China and the China virus. And we told you about this. How do you say it, Stu? Because I hydroxychloroquine, hydroxychloroquine. I could never be a pharmacist.
Chloroquine? I think it's
I could barely be a broadcaster. Can you imagine? What is it? Hydroxychloroquine? Give me a bottle of that hydroxychloroquine right now from China.
Yeah, that's it. Hydroxychloroquine.
Okay, so, all right, so this is a drug that we've been using for malaria. And apparently the malaria drugs give you some quite a wild ride on fever dreams. I imagine malaria also gives you that, but this stuff is like really bizarre. And you're supposed to combine it with a Z-Pack. Now, I reached out to my doctor, and my doctor, is not insane. And he just started to look into this, and he's like, look, all I did was just look these up to see if, there are dangerous side effects with these two medicines together. And he said, well, one of the risks is a potentially dangerous heart rhythm. And that's the side effect of the hydroxychloroquine, that drug. I'm going to call it HQ from here. That drug apparently can make your heart do things that it probably shouldn't. And according to my doctor, he wrote, I'm not sure how often this arrhythmia occurs. I'm sure it depends a lot on how high a dose you prescribe for the hydroxychloroquine or the Zithromax. It also depends on what medicines the person might be on and the heart history and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm not a heart guy, but he's reaching out to somebody to find out. He said, the textbook says that maybe you shouldn't put these two together, even if the cure rate for the China virus in the French study is 100%. My doctor said, if you get this, I don't feel comfortable prescribing both of these medications together. It's like I give you the hydro drug, the chloroquine, by itself if you get it. And maybe, I'd throw in the Z-Pack, but I don't feel comfortable prescribing both of those together. So there's the news from my doctor. So there, you're not getting that anywhere else. Chad.